Good evening and welcome to May 20th, 2024, Common Council, City of Connersville. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Robb.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hopkins.
The scripture I'd like to share with you tonight is James chapter 3, verse 13, and it says, "Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom." Let's pray. Heavenly Father and Almighty God, I welcome your overshadowing presence here tonight. It's evident that where your people are, you will be found among them. We're grateful to be living in a democracy where many play a part in making sure the needs and desires of our citizens are heard and met. Thank you for being a God of love who has freely offered your grace to us through Jesus Christ. In our hearts we plan our course, and may we look to you to establish our steps. I ask that you provide the members of this council with knowledge needed to approach each situation in the best possible way. May they make decisions concerning the spending of funds that are not only moral but rational. I pray as the agenda is brought forth that each one in their elected position will serve to the best of their ability. Each one of us have come to this room this evening with the individual cares of daily life, and yet we're here to serve. Wrap your arms around these men and women and allow them to feel your amazing love. Help them to know you better so that they may see your presence in the work they do. And Father, give them the stamina to approach each day and to find a balance between work and life so that they will be sustained. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to welcome one this evening. We will begin with roll call.
Councilman Robb?
Here.
Councilman Gray?
Here.
Councilman Collins? Councilwoman McQueen? Here. Councilwoman Barrett?
Present.
Councilman Williams Jr.? Councilwoman Phillips? Present.
Okay, everyone has the minutes of the May 6, 2024 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If not, I'll take a motion to approve minutes.
Make the motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Let's move on down to new business. We have request for ordinance 7002, the pending ordinance 3942, the construction standards. Brad, you want to come up and talk about that, sir?
Just briefly, about a year ago or a little more, we started through a process of doing an update of our construction standards, which had been issued, I think, in 2003, so they were 20 years old. And the county had agreed to pay a third, and redevelopment agreed to pay a third, and the city. And after a year-long process, we got through all that, and if you remember, we had a public hearing recently, and the county was here with us, and everybody approved it. So just asking you to formally approve this ordinance so we can adopt them to be put into practice.
Memory serves me correct, make sure we did. We passed them out, we went through it with Bill McDaniel, then we go back to the county, and now it's back to us. So
Yeah, I think the county,
no changes.
they okayed them tomorrow.
Yeah, that's correct.
And there's no changes, correct?
No, that's correct, no changes.
Okay, I need a motion to approve pending ordinance 3942 on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. You're getting feedback, John. Okay, thank you. It was passed unanimously, correct? Okay. Double check that feedback, got me confused. Okay, move on to,
Nope, suspend the rules.
sorry, there we go. Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
I have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion to do third and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Very much. Move down to resolutions 2024 through 27. Rosemary?
Resolution 2024-24 is a resolution to reimburse $50 into City Hall telephone. Resolution 2024-25 is a resolution to reimburse $150 into police telephone. Resolution 2024-26 is a resolution to reimburse $100 into DOT vehicle repair. Resolution 2024-27 is a resolution to reimburse $268.43 into MVH signs and equipment.
Any questions? If not,
Motion to approve.
have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Sorry, my allergies are bothering me today. I quit coughing. Okay, we got two permission really for advertisements. We got the first one in your hand is the permission and approval for ARPA request. We have some remaining dollars that have to be not expended this year, but approved this year for what we want to spend it for. We still have some remaining stuff, but you can see there's the first one is for AR-15s for our police. When we had the SWAT shooting, I realized then that the ARs we do have are personal ARs. They are not city-owned ARs. And when they have a shooting, they lose them. The state police takes them because they do all kinds of, I'm not for sure. Randy, you want to explain this, how the state police, when they take the guns and they run through their labs and everything?
Yeah.
It's a long process.
Yeah, typically it's a long process. Due to the call out though, they stopped where they were investigating and pushed us forward so we can get our weapons back. But they do take them and do all kinds of ballistic testing and whatnot. And we're out of weapons at that point when they have them, so.
What gave me pause on this is that happened, it was like a week before the eclipse, right? Week or two?
Yeah,
That left us in a situation that we didn't know what was going to come with the eclipse. We know there could have been something happen, there could not have been happened. We had no way to really defend ourselves, and I didn't like that at all. So we pulled together as many quotes as we could. Bad thing is they're almost impossible to get right now because a lot of your manufacturers are making them for military only.
they're hard to get in
So-
that quantity.
Yeah, you can get one or two here and there, but you can't get the large quantity. So we do have a quote. We captured two quotes. We couldn't get a third one, is that correct?
2 quotes.
Most of them could not get the quantity we needed, and they didn't know when they could get them.
Yeah. One of our local sporting shops that we usually get our ammo couldn't get more than a couple, so.
So we did find a place that could get them. We had two places to get them. This one came in a lot cheaper. So that's the first thing for the police. Using their own personal weapons just bothers me. I think we should have issued weapons.
Just some insight, I think we have 4 department-issued long guns, and the rest are personal owned, so the majority of our departments are carrying their own personal long guns.
So that's why that's in there. I do not like that. I want to make sure we're protected, especially for SWAT. So basically, all 4 shooters from SWAT, we didn't have any SWAT weapons. That I don't like that. So we did get quotes to put that in there. The next one, Scott, I'm going to have you come in here real quick. I know we can do this again next week at the public hearing. I just want to give you the information on why we're doing what we're doing. There's 5 items for fire. I brought Scott in. I was like, do we have everything for the new truck? I know we can take things off the old truck and put on the new truck, but what needs to be replaced? The first thing that needs to be replaced is the Jaws of Life. We have 2 sets. One set's decent and good, and the other one needs to be replaced, right?
Yeah, we currently have 2 sets. It's the older technology of the hydraulic. You got the hydraulic pump, the tools, the hoses. One set is 20 plus years old. The other set is probably around 8 years old or so. If we have the opportunity, since those are getting some age on them, matter of fact, I was told today, I think the newer set developed a leak, so I'm gonna have to have it serviced. But there's a new technology out now and it's been out for several years using battery equipment. Everybody knows how far along battery equipment's came, and I wasn't sold on it when it first came out. When I was on the truck, I thought, I'm old school. I like this, I'll just grab everything and carry it. I had a chance to demo the new tools, and they're nice. They are quicker. You don't have to pump to carry to the scene, the hoses to carry to the scene. You got to hook the tools up, to the hoses, fire up the pump. These battery-powered extrication tools, They come with 2 batteries each tool, so there'd be 6 batteries on a truck. They're ready to go. You get them out there and you start, doing what you need to do to save lives. So I have a couple videos that I can show you to give you a better idea how those tools work, but just having the opportunity to replace that old technology, I think is huge. I did reach out and get a quote. The company that sells Hurst tools, they've been in business for 40, 50 years, selling these tools, and the oldest set of tools is a set of Hurst tools. They're the only company that's allowed to sell Hurst in the state of Indiana, which is kind of how that goes in the fire service. I did have another company reach back out to me that sells another brand that was actually quite a bit higher than this quote here. The numbers that the mayor has in your paperwork is for 2 sets. I believe the 2 sets combined was around 67.
67, 250.
And 1 set of this other company that I got back a quote today on was $50,000 for just 1 set. So these are really nice tools. Like I said, the video will give you a better explanation of how efficient they are and just how much better the technology is. So if we have an opportunity to replace the older sets and the older technology, I just think it's a no-brainer.
And the reason we're looking at 2 sets, not just 1, is that way both trucks are standard. You got 2 trucks on a scene, they can interchange anything they need.
We have
1 hydraulic and 1 battery could cause some problems.
For anyone that don't know, our rescue truck does respond in the whole county on auto accidents. So obviously our new set of tools is on that truck. We have the old set of tools on an engine here in town. There have been instances where we needed both sets at the same time. The rescue truck will be in the county. We'll have another wreck here in town. So the 2 sets, I think, are a necessity. But this company also, some other things I'd like to note. They offered to, if we were to purchase these, they offered to send 4 of my firefighters to the McQueen extrication course, which is $650 per individual for free. They offered to come down here and put on a class for the whole department for free, obviously while introducing the new tools to you. The tools have a lifetime warranty. Anything breaks, they replace it. If the tool needs service, they will bring you a loaner while they take yours back, so you're not without tools. They're also, I found out that they're submersible. If we have an incident to where we have a vehicle that may be partially submerged in water, the whole tool itself, you can change the battery out. If you're doing a cut, the battery seems to want to wear down, it's underwater, you can take the battery off, replace the battery underwater. The average rating of these batteries, I'm being told, is approximately 50 cuts per charge. So I haven't heard of anybody having any issues with how long these batteries last. Once again, just the quickness, and you'll see in one of these videos, one of the big the things that was always aggravating to me when I was on the truck was just the time it took, when you're using the spreaders and you go to spread, an opening or, get you a point on the car to, try to, get the door, spread the door open. Just the amount of time it took to close that tool back so you could gain another spot seemed like it took forever. These new tools, they're 2-stage, and they work so fast. To me, just performing an extrication in my mind, it would almost seem like we could get something done maybe in half the time. So that being said, there's a couple quick videos here to just give you an idea of what these tools are.
I'm Mike Cannon with First Jaws of Life here at FDIC 2021. Really proud to introduce the very latest in technology from First Jaws of Life. We're building on the first ever waterproof battery-powered extrication tool. We're enhancing it and coming out with an additional version called E3 that now gives the firefighter real-time information in a dashboard display, among other things. Firefighters no longer need to press buttons to know where their battery status is. When they're using the tool, we now have a power indicator that indicates the power of the piston. So now we know when the tool has reached maximum strength. In addition, we've got a built-in roll warning for cutters. This will illuminate red if you're in a catastrophic roll. We have control valve indicators as a training aid to ensure that as you train, you remember which which way to go. And in addition, we've added turbo speed, but with automatic control, if you will. So all our tools, as you can see, can run at an extremely rapid pace. But if I want to operate this tool in a more gentle manner, I can feather the tool very gently to go slower. And what's nice about this is in a cutter, you don't want to go very fast. It's a dangerous exercise, in some cases cutting high-strength steel. So our unit will actually slow down to a slightly safer speed at the high-pressure stage of cutting. The tool is IP58 rated. It can be submerged up to 11 feet in water. And the battery is an IP68 with a built-in LED target. There we go.
You have to change batteries in your car.
That light illuminates a photoluminescent target here, so that if you ever had to change batteries in the dark, it's very easy to see.
The next video is just going to give you, and we don't have to necessarily go through the whole thing, I think it's maybe 6 minutes, but this is at the FDIC, the Fire Department Instructor Conference that they have annually in Indianapolis, where people come from all over the whole country, and there's just vendors everywhere, and this is where they do demos for these tools, but it'll give you an idea of, how they work. And one other thing that to point out is what we have quoted there are the spreaders, and then the actual cutters, and then there's a ram, a hydraulic ram that we use for many things, as far as maybe rolling a dash up when somebody's stuck under a dash. The tools we have now, you have 2 connections. So if it gets to the point to where you're cutting a spot and then you have to use the spreaders, and then all of a sudden you need the ram, you got to unconnect something, and then you got to go get the ram, and then you got to connect the hose back to that. With these tools here, you'll see eventually in the video, all 3 firefighters are using all 3 tools at the same time, so there's no delay.
All right, guys, have at it. Now first, let me give you the scenario we're going after. In our imagined scenario, we have a front-end impact with just a driver, and they need to handle both primary and secondary entrapment. So since we suspect we're going to have to do a dash lift, before we take that door, we're going to first get that front quarter panel out of the way to gain access to that front frame and our front hinges. As you can see, Anthony's going to work that door with the spreader. A note, you notice he is approaching that spread above the top hinge. That is a critical technique. The old way of going between the hinges is not recommended based on the new tensile strength of modern door hinges. Anthony is using the new hydraulic 3.0 555 spreader. And as Rick comes in to cut that hinge.
Another thing to note is tripping over the hoses constantly, because that happens constantly when we're working around a car, because those hydraulic hoses roll up. So we would eliminate that safety issue.
Now, as a matter of safety, Eric Sanders is going to put some webbing around that door to control its movement upon removal, while Anthony works to gain access to that nadir pin. And as you can see, a door removal, they got a lot of options. We can cut it off or spread it off. In this case, we start with the spreader to make that cut determination later. So you see, Rick's
Imagine how
going to
difficult
resort
some of those are.
to a nadir cut with
Those certain angles that way also.
S789 hydraulic 3.0 cutter. And as you may have heard, every tool they are using in this demonstration is water tolerant. They can be used underwater, in water. You can change a battery in the water. Environmental durability is one of our primary objectives in the design.
what they're gonna simulate now is
Now Rick's gonna cut the
a lot of
front frame.
a
Now,
lot of
why is he
front-end
doing that?
collisions. People end up
Yeah,
underneath the
obviously,
dash.
at this
so
point,
they're
you need
gonna
to
do what's
execute
called
a dash
roll.
lift. And Rick needs
having
to
all three tools
separate
available
the
for
dash
that is
assembly
gonna be really
from the
important.
front frame so that the lift will work properly. Now you're wondering, now why is Anthony pinching that A-post? In many instances, a prep pinch makes it much easier to cut later on in the extrication.
You can bump it up a little bit, Jim.
And as you can see, a little muscle frees the cutter so that Rick can make his lower A-post cut in preparation for that dash lift. Now, we've all been taught that in many dash lift scenarios or dash pull scenarios, you might use a ram in a dash roll or a spreader in a straight dash lift. You're going to notice a slightly different approach. Ultra high strength steel dash assemblies, in many cases, would dictate that a tandem operation is actually more effective, using both the spreader and a ram. In this instance, we may cut the lower A only once because the ram will allow enough gap so that Anthony can put that spreader in there as you see him doing now.
And raises the dash. And you only have to raise it inches most of the time to be able to get somebody out. That's good, John. Thanks. As you can see, they're using all three tools at the same time. We don't have that capability right now. So to do something like that and use all three tools is going to take us, minutes. And obviously in serious situations like that, minutes or everything. Obviously just the price tag on these tools is not something that we would be buying out of our annual budget. My feeling on it is if we've got some funds that we can use for equipment, and possibly get these purchased now versus put it off down the road to where somebody else has to, try to find money to buy these down the road. I think it's a great idea. And like I said, it just improves our functionality and just, how quick we get the job done when somebody's injured in a car accident. But I think that's all I have on those.
On the tools.
On the tools, yeah.
One of the things that caught my attention real quickly on the tools was, this is even before I talked to him about it, because I was watching one of the, there's a news report somewhere with some of the protests going on college campuses, and they barricaded themselves in those fences. And the way the police got through was those tools right there, they walked up, cut them, opened them up, that fast.
Right.
You have to drag hoses.
Well, there's no limit where you can go.
There's no limit where you can go, so.
Right now, you're limited. You go to the fire scene, you set the pump down, and however long the hose is what you've got unless you go, it's hard to make rotations around the vehicle quick if you need to, jump from one side to the other, if, you start tangling hoses and whatnot, so.
Well, that's what.
Anybody have any questions on that equipment before we move on? It's hard to explain it all in 10 minutes unless, I'm able to show you, so that's why I thought I would grab some videos.
With the other three, or the lockers for the stations, I got some pictures if you want to see them. I walked over to Scott and took some pictures. Now you've got over $3,000 worth of gear stuffed in a little cubby hole, that's all they have, and then their extra set is laying on top somewhere, where these lockers are designed to hold everything, so just make them last longer. It looks a little more professional.
The gear lockers, those are some, we've been wanting those for a while. Any firehouse you walk into, just about you're gonna walk in, you're gonna see, just like in the shows, you're gonna see gear lockers, mounted down the wall, right? All three stations have kind of a different setup. Station 1, basically probably like a 2 foot by 2 foot plywood cubby that everything's crammed in. Every firefighter has 2 sets of gear. So they got the current set that they've got their boots in, crammed in there, and their second set may be thrown up on top somewhere, just wherever they can throw it. Not only that, cramming everything into a cubby like that, could potentially damage a mast or something like that. Like I said, this is something that, we've talked about trying to get for years. My assistant chief actually reached out to this company and got some quotes probably a few months ago, and then when we attended that conference up in Indianapolis, that vendor had a booth set up, so we stopped and talked to her, and that's when we sat there with her and designed each station with her on paper. And actually that quote there has a 15% discount on it, which she said was only good through the conference, but after emailing her and told her that we were going to try to pursue this, she said she would extend that. So that was good. But yeah, and station on the east side, there's a room where guys have their gear in now, and we could potentially open that room up for some other storage that we desperately need by installing these lockers out in the truck room like most firehouses do. So it's something that's just another thing that's been put off. We're trying to go through and upgrade these stations right now. We pressure wash, they're being painted right now. I'm installing new speakers throughout the stations, which is, the majority of that's eating up my improvements budget. So
Speakers so we can hear the radio.
yeah, the speakers are ancient.
That's kind of nice.
I mean, not the radio, but their microphone,
they're-
right? Dispatch, there we go.
Oh, yeah, speakers.
Good to spit it out.
Ceiling, yeah, speakers like, in the ceilings and throughout the station, we're installing some new speakers and stuff, so, we're just going around trying to update some things, and that's, I feel like that's something that's, we spend so much money on our gear, I think we need to take care of it. That gear's not cheap.
Well,
so.
that lines up with the last one, the fire gear, the 15,000, because we need more fire gear than we had budgeted, so.
And it's going up dramatically.
It's going up big
Just a
time.
set of coat and pants is $3,500 now.
Yeah,
Boots are $300 to $400. Yeah.
So everything's just
Just
gone
like
up.
everything else is, the groceries are going up, and everything else goes up. That's why most places will only quote you something for like 30 days anymore.
Right.
Just because they get an increase and they're gonna pass it on to you, so.
That's everything for fires. Anyone have any questions for Scott while he's here?
Thank you for the
Okay,
information.
thank
Move
you.
on down, the next one is, the utilities. I got $150,000 I'd like to commit to the well. When we were doing our rate study, we knew we were going to do a well. We were estimating 3 to 350, Brad, and that's where they were coming in. And they are now 500,000. Everything's just, and we started, in our defense, we started looking at that 2-3 years ago, the well, when we were negotiating with the new company. So this was part of the getting them here, was we want to upgrade the well, but the price went up, and I don't want to go back and look at the rates or do anything. So I just felt it best to take the $150,000 out of ARP. That's still going to be not what we were thinking, but we think we'll be fine after that. The street department, the equipment, we had, we were going to use some funds we had set aside to offset some of the equipment purchases we had. I feel it's a better use of these dollars, since we have to be committed by this year, to leave the funds that we were going to use in the fund, because we can use it past the ARP and use the ARP dollars, because since they had to be committed by the end of this year, and then our fund can be established for future purchases wherever we need it. And the park, I know we already committed the help, but we gotta recommit that help match again for this year, because we're getting ready to start spending money out of that account, so we gotta approve that. So I'm just looking for permission to advertise for the additional appropriation for ARP request for the next meeting.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Excuse me. Motion approved. And then the last permission to advertise was the for the public safety tax. We want to do a public hearing for that, so we'll do it at the same meeting. I gave you kind of a write-up of, I wrote this literally right before it got in the packets, because that's where we got the information. So it's been a little slow coming in, but we have some numbers, we have to build all that. I will get that to everyone way before packets are due. And I was trying to explain what, some of the communication we were getting between the DLGF and why it was not clear and why we weren't getting answers, because there's some new legislation in there. So we'll get all that written up for everyone to see it, but I do need permission to advertise for the public hearing for the public safety tax. Jeff, is there anything I'm missing on that?
No, I mean, just tonight, they're just voting to essentially have a public hearing.
Correct.
We're not moving.
We're not moving it, correct.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on down to department reports. Director Pawsey.
For the month of April, we had 8 hours, 9 minutes of meeting production, 13 hours, 34 minutes of original production. YouTube analytics showed 5,144 views at 707 hours. And our subscriber base increased to 3,598 on YouTube. That of course does not, again, couple cable subscribers. We don't know what those are. Top content for the month was the 2024 primary candidate forum. Following that was the solar eclipse tracking map that we pulled from the NASA feed and then sent that back out showing just Connersville. And then followed that was the joint city-county meeting. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
John.
Chief Hardin.
Good evening. I'm going to show a copy of my April 2024 report. We had a total of 305 calls for service. If we look back over the last 15 years, we usually average in 3 high teens, low 20s as far as so a little bit down, but like I said earlier, more work. But it's been really weird here lately in that it's feast or famine more severe than usual. Where you see one shift that really has a light day, and then the next shift just is getting hammered. So it goes that way sometimes. It just seems to be more extreme here lately. I don't know why. Don't have an answer. 26 years, haven't figured it out yet. So it is what it is. Brings our total to 1,308 for the year. Still one paramedic vacancy. I have 2 employees that are in paramedic school and they're in their capstone portion. So the capstone portion is the last of the last. They're pretty much done with their classroom portion. This is their clinical portion. So before, yeah, they let them do stuff. Yes, they let them make decisions. At this point, they are the lead. They are the ones who make all the decisions. Your preceptor is not going to step in unless you're doing something wrong. So they are basically kicking them out of the nest at this point. So it's a scary time because everybody starts looking at you and you're like, you know, I gotta make these decisions. So that's where they're at right now. But it is the final stage to get them out of school. So you see our fuel usage and fuel tax rebate commission. Survived the eclipse, didn't have any issues, did have extra staff on that day because we just did not know. So there was some overtime incurred with that. Sure, was some overtime, and I did stock up on supplies that are going to be used anyways. I think I figured up I spent like $375 that was really just for the eclipse. So I didn't figure that was too terrible. The last line says several projects that are in progress. Not being cryptic, I just have to think I'm really working on that. I don't have a lot of answers to yet, and I will. You guys will be getting briefed at some point on it, but I want to make sure I have good answers and good research and good progress before I bring it up to you. The last thing, and it is not on any of the paperwork, is this is EMS Week. It is the 50th anniversary of EMS Week, which is kind of neat that it's been around 50 years, but Fayette County EMS has been around 68. So we actually predate EMS Week. We predate the state of Indiana. So it's just a week that kind of recognizes, you know, EMS and all of its different branches now. You know, before it was very, very simple. You took a patient from scene to hospital. Now it's not so simple. and there's a lot of different facets to it. So we have a really great group of people, and we've made a lot of progress over the last 4 years. So just kind of want to bring it to your attention, that we do have a really, really good system in this county. So there was a lot of forethought that went into this 68 years ago. So, does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Director Steele.
Good evening. Good evening. I first want to start off and let everyone know that all of our positions are filled for the summer. We did end up hiring 16 lifeguards. So we started out with more than that, but we ended up with 16 passing their certifications. So we're really excited about that. We are ready to open the pool this Saturday, the 25th. So that's ready to go. Summer Discovery Camp registrations are open. Summer Discovery does start next Tuesday, the 28th. And we are still taking registrations. Actually, registrations stay open all summer long, so that's available. Swimming lessons registration is still going on as well. We have 2 sessions, one in June and one in July. Season pool passes are also available. And then to add to the pool, we're going to do 2 new things this summer. We're going to have an open lap swim. We reached out and on Facebook primarily, and a lot of people have requested that. So for 18 and older, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings from 8 to 10:45, we're going to do an open lap swim. And then decide to fund if they wanted to. And so I'm happy to say that we did receive $30,000. The larger portion of that's going to go towards the Living Well, Aging Well, and that's going to help us to put in an ADA compliant single restroom in the Miller Building. And this will be for individuals, or if someone needs help while they're in the restroom, they can go in with them. We have 4 restrooms in the Miller Building, 2 on one side, men and women, with stalls in each, and then over by the gym. But we don't have a place for someone to go and help, like if it's a husband and wife or something, we don't have a place for them to go and help them. And so this is going to really benefit everyone that comes to the Parks Department. We have had a couple that's reached out to us, and they are really excited about this opportunity because right now in the park itself, we don't have that option. And so if he has to help her in the restroom, we just don't have that ability. And so this is going to be a great addition for us at the park. And then Summer Discovery, the money will go towards Summer Discovery, any supplies we may have. We do take them on field trips. We take them to the movies once a week, and so bus transportation, that'll help with that, and any field trips we may take. And then sports, scholarships, and some supplies that we need for sports, and then community events. So we're really excited about this funding that we're going to receive from, well, we just received it actually, last Friday we received it. So it's really going to help us out a lot in all of our different programs that we have. The bridge is finished. I'm sure you've all drove by and seen the bridge. I am in the process of, there's 3 different steps we have to do. We have to have a soda blasting done to remove all the graffiti on the bridge, and then once that's removed, we can spray a fire retardant on the bridge, and then we can have it painted. So I'm in the process of getting bids for all 3 of those jobs. I'm also working with Sherwin-Williams to see what kind of help they can do on the paint as well.
The fire retardant was donated too.
The fire retardant, yes. That was donated by the Indiana Historical Bridge Association. And so we just have to find someone certified to apply it on the bridge. Let's see, I kind of discussed all that. I just want to say, take a moment to say a big thank you to CHS and the Spartan Work Day that we had on May 1st. I know they went kind of throughout the community. We had about 30 that came to the Parks Department. They helped spread mulch at Offutt's Park Playground. They helped clean Nickel Plate Trail up. They spread mulch at Roberts Park Playground. And then they helped clean the pool house and the guardhouse to get that ready for opening day. So that is, I'm so happy that they started doing that, and it really is a true blessing to us, and I'm sure everyone else in the community as well. If you have drove past the park today or last night, you may see some new decorations at the park. We had yarn bombing, so we had volunteers who took many hours to create the crochet blankets that they put out on the trees. And that's just to provide some pretty colors throughout the park for the summer to look at. And they had a lot of fun doing it, and we were really excited for all the volunteers. So if you haven't seen them, drive by, they're really neat.
Saw them today.
Lots of different designs and colors and everything like that. So I know that there's been a lot of comments out there and people are enjoying looking at them. So just a few dates I just want to mention one more time. The pool opens May 25th. Summer Discovery opens or starts on May 28th. We are partnering with Whitewater Valley Adult Education. They have their graduation at the Miller Building every year. Well, we're going to do a job fair on June 6th. That will be during the day before the graduation is held, and it's open to the public. And then June 20th, Communities That Care will be having a dive-in movie night, pool party, and that will be open to the public. Do you have any questions?
Remember one thing, on the river, how many, I know you probably don't know off the top of your head, but there are several trash cans along the river bank.
Like at the canoe launch?
Yeah, on down towards Winter Memorial. I got a report, I haven't been able to like look and see which ones, but supposedly there's some trash cans missing and some are damaged. I don't know the quantity of either, but.
We just have one that I know. There's one at the canoe launch.
Okay.
And that one is ours. We do not station them any further down anywhere.
Okay. Okay.
We just have them at the canoe launch.
That'll work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Jones.
Hello again. The monthly report for the Connersville Fire Department for April. We'll start out with the overtime. As you can see, overtime's elevated. I'm still one man short. I have one on sick leave. I was hoping to have a response back from PERF for the individual we're planning on hiring, and I don't have that yet, so we're basically at their mercy. We have to wait until I get something back from them. So hopefully I'll be able to bring him to the next Board of Works meeting and get him on, start getting him trained. That being said, the total overtime was $10,704.79, and the manpower shortage portion of that was $8,945.92, and the remainder of that was the scheduled overtime, which is $1,758.87. Below that, you'll see our fuel usage for the month of April. We used 325 gallons of fuel for a total cost of $1,625.05. Total incidents for the month, we had 176 incidents, 27 of those being fire-related incidents, 142 being EMS-related incidents, and we had 7 auto accidents. On the next page, you'll see our training hours. For April, we had a total of 56 and a half instructed hours of training. 46 of those were fire training, 10 and a half were EMS training. Inspections for the month, we had 10 total inspections, and then we had 0 hours of investigation, fire investigation for the month. A few other things to note. Some of these things I'd already mentioned earlier. We did just get our annual physicals completed. Everybody passed those, everybody did well on those. I already mentioned the new hire waiting for PERF. We did get the Station 1 generator installed, or got it, the old one replaced, the new one installed, the old one we were having a lot of trouble with. over the last couple of years, I've had someone come down from India and work on it several times, and it was getting costly, and finally it was recommended I replace it. So we did get that installed and replaced. I replaced the old one, and then once again, I mentioned earlier, we pressure washed the stations and painting and installing some new speakers. Those were, I just happened to mention those earlier. So that's all I have for my report. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Chief Bolos.
Good evening. So everybody's got a copy of the monthly. Our overtime is high also in the month of April. We had extra working on Eclipse Day, and also I was 5 guys down for about 2 weeks. So,
I was gonna say, I
2
didn't
on each shift.
you saw all the departments had extra overtime in April. When we were going by what the Department of Homeland Security was telling us, there were times we're gonna be inundated with people. So I had everyone on staff at the beginning of that day. So our overtime is really up because of that.
Yeah,
Not, well, I'm saying because that's one of the reasons.
one of the reasons. Down to our fuel, we use just over 1,900 gallons of fuel. Does anybody have any questions about our budget line? All right, on to our incidents. You guys have a copy of that also. Our accidents have gone up. We had 47 in April, where we had 33 the month prior. Total of 783 calls. Any questions on any of our incident calls? Department training, we had 108 hours department training, 16 hours of K-9 training. Our detective division took in 14 cases. They closed 12 with 6 felony arrests. Our drug take-in, we had marijuana, 28 grams, heroin, fentanyl at 10 grams, meth, 18. Pills, we had 71 various pills. Needles, 16, 12 items of paraphernalia, 4 K-9 indications, and we also took 6 guns in relation to drugs. Our newest guys in ILEO right now, Logan Steele, has been there about 3 weeks, doing good up there, and I'm still in the process of having Captain Hamilton's spot replaced. So. Any questions? That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Wolf.
Good evening. The April 2024 Ordinance Office Report. In the month of April, we completed 78 ordinance violations that we were able to address. 18 of those being grass and weeds, 16 due to parking positions, 13 were accumulation of trash and rubbish, 8 expired license plates or abandoned vehicles, 7 information requests. A lot of those right now I'm feeling are coming from the county areas where they're wanting things done outside the city limits, and then I'm directing them to the appropriate people at the county level with contact information and to try to help them. 6 interior furniture outside of the homes, 2 dilapidated buildings, 2 machinery not connected with the operation of a home.
Explain that so everyone understands what that is.
The machinery not connected with the operation of a home. So that could be anything from a washing machine and a dryer sitting outside in the yard that's not actually in, as well as, say, a cement mixer that you've left in the yard for 3 years that has no connection to the operation of the home. It's not a propane tank. It's not an AC unit that's connected to the home. It's not something that's necessary to the operation and function of a house. So if you've got a backhoe that you've left with flat tires for 2 years in the yard, I'm gonna have to get it moved. 1 dangerous building, 1 relating to trees and shrubs, 1 yard exception, 1 home-based business. Just a side note, the 1 home-based business has relocated and they're working with zoning to get their new location properly approved. 1 demolition derby car had to be removed, and 1 obstruction of streets and sidewalks. So, as discussed earlier during the Board of Works, the focus areas and first impression tours that I was doing earlier on when it was colder out has slowed almost to a stop due to hitting 70 to 90 ordinance complaints a month. The remainder of this month, I'm going to try to focus on closing the rest of those out so that we can get back to those again. And any help from the public would be great. The ordinance submission form online now is mobile friendly and you can attach photographs. So if you can get a photograph that's time-stamped, upload it to the ordinance form, submit it to me. That saves me from making a trip across town to take my own photos and then drive back to do all the typing. I can type it up, go visit the property, deliver the notice, and be done in half the time. So anyone out watching right now, if you can do that, that would be great. That would save me a lot of time. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Coulter.
Hello. Be pretty brief. I want to give you a few bits of information that I didn't give to the Board of Works today. We've been working, you might have seen what looks like a leak on A Street Hill. Thought I'd give a little report on that. It's actually a spring that's popped up there. We got started on that today. We've been working on a little drainage project with Tim McFarland that's getting started, so I just had him go over there and we've been working on getting that tile. We got the tile laid up to the water today. Hopefully tomorrow we'll dry that up. But we've checked it several times to make sure it's not city water and it's a spring. We have another spring over on 5th Street Hill that's about the same, and we did extensive tiling work over there about 3 years ago. That's why all those patches on that hill, and those daggone springs will move on you, and then, you know, they're not getting in your tile anymore and they start coming up. So we'll get to the one on 5th Street's much less water, but we'll get to that when we get this 8th Street situation. It's quite a bit of water, so just reassure everybody we've been keeping a pretty close eye on that, poking holes over there to make sure it's not washing out underneath, and we'll get flowable fill back in there and get everything back shored up when we get the tile in tomorrow, next few days. Did you happen to find my second email? Good. Can you go to the one with the trash truck in it there? I wanted to tell you on or about May 1st, we got Best Way started hauling our trash for us. I had taken a couple of pictures while the mayor and I were down there welcoming them to the transfer station. And okay, I'll just start telling you what all these pictures are. There's the Best Way truck.
Okay.
That's good. Just sort of thumb through those a little bit, and I'll just, there's another one when they were moving the recycling totes. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the recycling totes are a little bit different, so it takes a little getting used to. But the good thing about those little doors is you can't stick crazy oversized boxes in there without smashing them and breaking them down, so it's actually kind of working out. Marla had brought up about the kids coming from the school on Spartan Service Day, and we had our volunteers downtown helping us get a couple more blocks finished with the landscaping. We got a bunch more plants in, so I think we have only thing we have left now is the 8th to 9th Street block, and we'll be finished with that. Looks a lot nicer, looks real nice, I think.
Yes, it does. Had a lot of compliments on it during Celebration of the Ville.
The week before the celebration, the street department really pitched in very happily
and nicely and went down there and got all the weeding and everything done. It really showed. I was very proud of it. These pictures are of the Headworks project. That's a picture of our 1 million gallon storage overflow facility. You can kind of tell by these pictures how deep that thing is. This was a picture that I took while I was down there just to show you. You know, I've been talking about the compost site. We've been using dirt from the Headworks project to fill in. That's a good one. Leave that one on just a minute. We've been using dirt from the Headworks project to fill in that big hole down there so that we can gain some more size at the compost site. You can get a pretty good idea there just how much we've been able to gain. That board shows you where the hole started before. So the guys at Dugan and Myers have, for free of charge, well, I wouldn't say free of charge, but they've been using their own time to help us get that filled in, and that's been real nice. I think that was really all I wanted to tell you about, unless anybody had any questions about my reports. Thank you.
Moving down to old business, you don't have any old business? Miscellaneous business? Public, you want up here, Clint? Nope. Take a motion for adjournment then.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Have a good evening.